Welcome along to special it is, Cheltenham 2021. This is the Trader Chat. I think that we've all been waiting for. The hits in Trader Chat has just gone through the roof in recent weeks over this or that. First of all, there was that treble that nearly came off a few Sundays ago. Does anyone even remember that now because of all the Gordon Elliott stuff? So Johnny Ward and Flynn Goward, we have been racing through the hits, but we're hoping that this one will be even bigger. And I apologise, we were slightly delayed, Flynn, because I had to call to a delivery man. Look what arrived.
Can't complain, can you? You can't complain.
This is just beautiful. So a couple of mates were on about this in another WhatsApp group. Did anyone receive the Star Sports hamper? I don't even know what's in this. I haven't opened it yet. Can I? Should I open it or should I wait and see and just have all this sense of anticipation over the next 10 or 15 minutes?
Well, I think that you've got a bit of whiskey in there, Johnny, so you'll be able to enjoy that throughout the week whilst watching the racing. Probably a little notebook in there, probably a guide to Cheltenham with some tips.
Here we go.
Look at that. What's in the box?
What is in the box?
This is what the viewers want to see, Johnny. They want to see you opening your Star Sports gift.
We have some sort of this looks like a pen.
Yeah, a nice little Parker number to write down all the winners.
Take notes and so forth. Here's Davy Russell's Cheltenham Festival pocket guide. Davy's actually a tremendous judge as well. And we'll talk about the horse. I think that he's most sweet on all week. But this is just, what else we got here? A lovely notebook. So literally you went into the notebook. So I have a pen and a notebook. Don't see any whiskey, Flynn.
Oh, maybe I think you might have a little bit of an issue there, Johnny. So they left it out for you.
Okay, well, to be honest, I'd object to a bookmaker sending you a guide for a betting festival with booze, because I don't think the two of them necessarily go that well together. And do remember to gamble responsibly this week. But Flynn, I'm going to get straight into it here, right? I want to bet on Ireland -6 at 13-8 because my anti-post book is as bare as this book. There's literally nothing. Everything I've backed is basically not running. And I was a little bit light on bets this year anyway. Now I can get involved and have an interest in almost every race up until the point of the bet wins or loses. Ireland -6 at 13-8. This was way shorter last week.
It was indeed. We've seen a huge amount of interest in the Pressburg Cup handicap market, which we put up. We gave Great Britain a 6-winner head start. So we had Great Britain a +6. They were even money. They've been bet all the way down to 4-7, so all the way down to 4-7 for Great Britain. We couldn't stop laying them, so we've kept shortening them. We thought that people would actually want to play Ireland -6 because of the amount of Irish horses that will be coming over and also the interest in the Irish so far this year. But we have laid a chunk at Ireland this morning at 7-4, hence why we are now 13-8.
Hold the 13-8. I want to get on. Hold the 13-8. If this goes into 6-4, I'll just be so annoyed that everything has gone wrong and I didn't get booze from Star Sports.
As it's you, Johnny, we will hold the 13-8 until this video goes out, so you need to be getting on as soon as you can.
Beautiful.
The book for us is pretty balanced now. Now we laid Ireland this morning at 7-4. The tie would be a big winner for us. So we could do with it being a 6-winner difference. That would be absolutely beautiful for us.
No, I can't have it. You know the way you watch a rugby game and you're like, how did they get the tie? So often they get it right. And it's the same in Gaelic games over here. If Star Sports copped a 6-1 on the tie, I'm done with the firm. You'll never have to hear from me again.
Well, there you go. I'll be cheering for the tie then, Johnny, in that case. GB would be a small lose for us, even though we laid Ireland this morning. But that could all change when Johnny Ward's money, when the weight of that comes in later on, and Ireland could be the lose for us. But that's a bet to have if you want an interest in every single race. Obviously, you can cheer on every Irish horse or every GB horse. So a real good bet to have there. And just while we're on the topic of specials, Johnny, I just want to spin through a couple more which we had on site, which we have seen some people piling into, to be fair. I firstly want to touch on the SP market. So we put a market up of which of the selected named horses will SP the shortest at the Cheltenham Festival. So we had Envoy Elen, Monkfish, Shishkin, Concertista and Chacun Poursoir in there. Obviously, this market took a massive shake-up when Energumene was pulled out, because obviously Shishkin was 10-1. But as soon as that news came out, we had to pull the market, obviously, because he should be much shorter than that. Before we got that news about Energumene in the Arkle, all the money was for Monkfish. We saw a huge amount of money for Monkfish. We put him in at 7-4. We actually had Envoy Elen in at 13-8 favourite in this market, but the weight of money for Monkfish brought him all the way into 4-5 from 7-4, just kept being bet down and bet down and bet down. But like I say, that market did kind of take a big turn when the Arkle news came out. But there's just an interesting one there. I would imagine the Monkfish backers will be sweating a little bit now. It probably looks a straight match. I'd have Shishkin just a shade of odds on to SP shorter than Monkfish. We saw Altior come out this morning in the declaration, so that would mean Chacun Pour Soi's price will be shortened. But I could see probably Shishkin going off around the 2 to 5 mark. I think Monkfish could get to 2-1.
Well, just with Shishkin, I'm not sure why Shishkin drifted like an absolute barge for the Supreme last year. Now there may be nothing to that. Abacadabras was way shorter than him, but just with the Altior news, it might make Henderson punters a little bit skittish that early on in the festival. Maybe we'll see what happens in the Supreme. If Appreciated wins, that might have a bearing on it as well. But I'm not sure Shishkin go off mad short, and I certainly hope like All Mankind gives him a race, but I think. Monkfish it has to go offshore because he just completely wins. Nothing can stop him. But it's an interesting market nonetheless.
Yeah. And we had Envoy Lenin as favourite because we thought he's running on the Thursday, and if these short ones go in on the first couple of days, the money's going to be building up in the per multiples, etc., onto Envoy Lenin, hence he'll go off shorter. But we just saw no money for Envoy Lenin whatsoever, so we had to push him out, and we obviously brought Monkfish in. I would be of a different opinion in those races. I think that Shishkin is an absolute certainty, and I think that Monkfish could potentially get beat. I thought he was more impressive over 2.5 than he was over 3 miles. So coming up against different opposition rather than just latest exhibition, I think it'll be a proper race in the Brown Advisory. But we'll come on to that shortly.
That's the greatest load of nonsense I have ever heard. This horse is better over 3 miles. He's miles better than he was as a hurdler when he outbattled the latest exhibition already. You're talking through your absolute hoop. Although I do kind of agree with you on Shishkin. I think he's a certainty as well.
Okay, well, we can agree to disagree on the Brown Advisory there anyway. Just one more Cheltenham special would be which day will have the highest cumulative winning distance. All the money was for Tuesday in this market. I think it's a bit of a guess up this market, to be honest. We were very level in terms of the pricing. We were at 11 to 4, 11 to 4, 5 to 2 and 3s, I think. So very, very level. But Tuesday is the one that has seen the money for in that market. So that's just a spin through the Cheltenham specials. Now we're going to go through the Cheltenham liabilities. So I'm just going to pick out the standouts from each day. Johnny, just feel free to chip in whenever you want with any type of opinion or any horse you fancy in a race. To start with the Supreme. So since we've had the decks, Blue Lord and Soaring Glory have been the ones for money here. They were also the ones of interest anti-post wise. So those would be the ones that we won't want to win in the market thus far. In the Arkle, all about Shishkin. We can't stop laying Shishkin. Obviously, Energamy being a non-runner was bad news for us because we'd laid Shishkin anti-post. So all the anti-post rules applies and no rule 4s being enforced there will mean that the punters will certainly have the value. Moving on to the Champion Hurdle. So since declarations, Honeysuckle has been the most popular, but the big loser in the race is still Goshen. Goshen's still the big loser. We laid plenty of 9 to 2, 4 to 1, so slightly shorter now. We also laid Booba there heavily in the race. That was a huge loser, but obviously he doesn't go. They're saving him for a later date. Have you got any opinions on the Champion Hurdle on the feature on the first day, Johnny?
I like Abacadabras each way, as long as the ground, which obviously has softened a bit. If the ground is okay, I think he'll win a big race. I actually think he has probably every bit as much ability as Honeysuckle. They're just very different horses, and I think there will be a good pace on here, and I think he'll play to his strengths. I think he'll run very well and probably not win, but at the prices, I'm willing to take a chance. And Eddie O'Leary seems to be quite bullish about him. I saw him the other day.
Johnny, we agree. Abracadabras for the Champion Hurdle. Completely agree with your sentiments there. I think that one also could be overlooked is Silver Streak. So 2 at prices I'll take against the field. I can see Silver Streak being up in the van, just sitting behind the one that's going to go in front and not so sleepy, and just kind of dictating things as a second kind of race. But I think that Abracadabras will just be put to sleep, and then we'll just kind of come through at the end to pick up the pieces. So those would be the 2 I would take against the field in the Champion Hurdle. So I would be with you there. So we've disagreed a bit already, but we agree there, Johnny. So that's a good sign anyway, I think. Moving on to the Boodles, Coulter would be the massive loser in the race for us here. We like Coulter at 8 to 1, and he's now 13 to 2. So even though you've got Hooghry, who's been well supported, and St. Sam at the top of the market there, Coulter is the one for money in the Boodles. And then the last race I touched on day one, the National Hunt Chase. So we've seen support of all the gin joints for Colin Tizard, which is a bit of an interesting one at big prices. Galvin's also a loser there, but we did see money for Royal Pagaille before he's obviously been before they've come out and said that he's going to go for the Gold Cup. So we did manage to cop a bit on Royal Pagaille. We were anti-post rules applied, so we were at a bigger price for Royal Pagaille. We were about 15 to 8, 2 to 1, and we did see money at those type of prices, but the punters have been burnt there, unfortunately for them. But Galvin's still a loser in the book, so we wouldn't want Galvin to be going in the National Hunt Chase. Day 2, this day so far is all about the Ballymore, and it's all about one horse, and I could think that you probably could guess who that horse is, Johnny, after the preview night anyway.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, where's my Cheltenham guide here, if I can find it? I mean, I do lose things very fast, but I literally only picked this up like a minute ago. Here we go. There he is, the great man, front and back. And the way that he spoke about this Henry de Bromhead good thing, and then extrapolated that Jamie Codd, who's possibly even a better judge than David Russell, or certainly his Cheltenham preview picks are unbelievable. He absolutely loves the horse. This thing could be further smashed as the week develops.
Yeah, so we went 3-1. Bob Ollinger, we're obviously talking about. So we went 3-1 Bob Ollinger during the preview night, and honestly, the bet ticker where we have the bets coming through, I had it open up on the screen just to my right, and it was full. Just full with 3-1 Bob Ollinger.
Of course, the boy Luke Tarr thinks it was called Bollinger, but they just made a balls for basically.
Yeah, exactly. So he's been the one for money. So we saw floods of cash for him. We're now 15-8. There's only 7 runners in the race, I believe. So these races have cut up when we've had the final decks of day 1 and 2. The bigger priced horses where the owners would normally go for a nice day out and have a Cheltenham runner aren't selling their horses. They're probably going to save them for Aintree or a bit later on when they can actually get to the track. So we are seeing smaller fields, but I don't see that as a big issue, to be honest, because we're still seeing the real quality there. I mean, when you look at the Ballymore, you've got Brave Man's Game, Galliard de Menil, and you've still got Bob Ollinger there. So we're still going to have a fantastic race. And if anything, we're not going to have really big priced horses potentially getting in the way of these real stars. I'm not saying that in a disrespectful manner at all, because these big price horses do go and win these races, but typically it is a front of the market that will come to the fore in the graded races. So that's our hard luck stories.
Yeah, but I know it's a different year to normal years on many levels. Notwithstanding that Brexit would be a big issue anyway, but in terms of it's more complex to bring horses over now. Then you bring in the pandemic, the fact that as an owner it's not as attractive. I take all of that, but this is not good news. We have a lot of Grade 1 races here with like a handful of runners. That's not what Cheltenham should be about. It should be, we don't have these like Arkle type horses necessarily, where Arkle, he ran in small field Gold Cups. Arkle was a once in a lifetime horse. We don't necessarily have once in a lifetime horses here. Yeah, we have like 5 runners, 7 runners, 6 runners. This is not what it's about in Cheltenham. If you're going to go towards 5 days, just forget about it. Forget about it. 4 is too many as it is. Bring back the 3-day festival, which, to be fair, you don't even probably remember because you're only, 20 odd?
24. 4 days is absolutely fine for me. The first ever bet I had at Cheltenham was Go Native in the Supreme. So,
yes.
I can't even remember what year that was now, but it was a fantastic ride anyway. Talking
about 2007 or thereabouts.
I think it's around the 2007. I think it might have been the first call.
Back to myself.
Yeah,
massive drifter on the day as well, like Shishkin, and ends up winning the Supreme.
Yeah, I think I actually picked him because of the colours. So obviously, gamble responsibly. It was through my dad back then, obviously. Right, so moving on to the next race.
His colours were a shade of pink, weren't they?
Pink with the stars.
Pink with the stars. There we go.
Pink with the blue stars.
Yeah.
I think Paul Carberry rode him.
He did indeed. I remember my first day racing. I was at the Galway race. It was brought by my cousins, and I just couldn't stop picking winners. And there was even one instance where I backed a horse and finished second. I threw my toe ticket away, and then not knowing that there was a steward's inquiry, not even knowing what a steward's inquiry was, it came over on the tannoy. Do not discard your tickets, just in case. Do not discard your tickets. So I'd gone away from her. I was sitting on the stand, came back frantically trying to find the ticket, found the ticket. They reversed the results in the steward's inquiry, and that ruined my life basically. But here we are.
Right, let's crack on. I can't remember where we got to now. Right, Brown Advisory and Champion Chase. We've struggled to lay the short ones here, but likely that they'll be permed up on the day when we get closer to the event. Grand Annual, us and them would be a huge loser for us here, but we've also seen Nibbles, and Tukas and Embittered. So those would be the 3 that we don't want to go in the Grand Annual. And then when we get to the bumper, Kilcrut would be.
So Joseph O'Brien is going to win the race anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Anything but Joseph O'Brien would be good for us in the Grand Annual. And then in the bumper, Kilcrut would be a solid loser for us at the moment. We're laying plenty of 15-8. We did lay as big as 10-1 in the anti-post markets. I know Tony Mullins gave him a big up the year before on a preview night about when he was going to come up in an unraced bumper. But he is favourite here. I think he's one to take on his feet. I think he's one that we can definitely get beat on the Wednesday. Moving on to day 3. So the Marsh, Envoy Len is the loser in the book, but not huge at the moment, but that will likely get bigger, especially if the other short ones go in, your Monkfish, your Chacun Poursois, and your Shishkins. In the Ryanair, Min would be a big loser for us here. Punter's obviously thinking he can do the same as what he did last year, and we've laid him at 6-1. The feature on the Thursday is the Stayers. We've had money for reserve tank at 50-1. So the Colin Tizard horses have been popular. He has hit a bit of form recently. He had a couple of winners last week.
Would love to see him have a winner. Obviously, I'll be cheering on the Irish with my -6, but Colin Tizard, the tragedy that befell them losing their daughter last May. And, there is a theory that her loss has been felt in the yard. Their stats have been down this year, that she was such an important part of the family and the operation. And I think it could be a special week for some good stories to come out of racing, like the Tizards having a winner. And I certainly would love them to win a good race this week.
Yeah, I've always been a huge fan of the Tizards. Obviously, Thistlecrack was a horse that was kind of hugely close to my heart. I've actually got a canvas up of Thistlecrack on the wall just around the corner. So I really, really
clearly that should be on the wall behind us here. I mean, you can't just see I have a canvas on the wall, but we can't even always see a blank white wall.
Well, when we get to the end of this, Johnny, I'll go and get it off the wall and I'll show you the lovely picture of Thistlecrack, and that'll be a great way to trade the chat before Cheltenham.
And by the way, for a guy who purportedly was quite hungover this morning on the eve of Cheltenham, you look very, very fresh. I got to give it to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't feel it, but as long as I come across on camera like I'm absolutely fine, that is fine.
Absolutely.
Right, so we were talking about the Stayers. Cider Burley is also a big loser for us in the race. At the moment, he'd be one of our biggest losers of the week. That's not been helped by the fact that Time Hill's obviously not running now because he's shortened up even more. We've laid 8-1. We laid 20-1 last year, Cider Burley. After he won, obviously, the race last year. I can't remember off the top of my head what race it was. Was it the
Pertemps
last year? Yeah. So that was his second success at the Cheltenham Festival. He's going for a third this year. He would be a huge loser for us, and now got an even bigger chance. Now Time Hill's out. I think he's around the 9-2, 4-1 mark. The Mayor's Novice. We've seen a lot of money for Glens of Antrim. I don't know if you can give us a bit of backstory about her.
Yeah. Willie's given her a good old mention in the lead up. Obviously, she's to step up plenty on form. She travels very well in her races, and this is a definitely. If Ireland don't win this, I give up on everything basically, because Royal Kahala and Rosie's Hollow, they're closely matched on the Fairyhouse one. But in this strange quirk of the weight system, there's a 7 pounds weight differential, and Rosie's Hollow would have been a lot bigger price that day. Royal Kahala, I think, has a massive chance because she already destroyed Hookup. And yet Hookup then ran so well behind Appreciated at Leopardstown. So basically, there's a lot of depth to that novice. And it's funny as well, I think these Mares races are a load of crap. I don't want them. But despite all of that, the Mares Novice is a brilliant race. And the two mares fighting out the champion hurdle are obviously, the top of the champion hurdle betting are obviously mares. So this year, there are just a lot of good mares.
Yeah, there certainly is. And Glens of Antrim has been the one that has been for money, 33-1, 10-1, now 7s. Hookup's been pretty friendless so far in the race, but she would be my selection. I thought that she was hugely impressive when she
can't beat Royal Kahala. Cannot beat Royal Kahala.
I would completely disagree with you there. I think she turns the ball around.
Why do I even have to listen to this?
There you go.
I hope you're not listed in this little.
Hookup versus Royal Kahala.
Anyway, yeah.
And Johnny versus Flynn Goward. So we've laid Hookup at bigger prices after that run. So she's been friendless since then. But Glens of Antrim is the one that the punters want to be with. And the last race that I want to talk about from the Thursday is the Kinmure. Bob Marler has attracted some interesting support here at 33, and they're now 16. So just a few for money there. And then we're on to the last day. So the Triumph Hurdle. French Seal would have been a terrible result, but now doesn't run. So we're in a good place there. Zana here would be the main loser now, by far the most supported horse in terms of stakes and number of bets in the Triumph.
What price? What about the winner, Tritonic? Have you laid him?
We haven't actually laid Tritonic, but I wouldn't mind laying Tritonic.
You want to. This is right. This is it. You're giving this to me in relation to Monkfish possibly being beaten. You're talking to me about Royal Kahala, the reversal of the form. Whatever about that. If you want to lay me Tritonic on the Saturday, or on the Friday rather, let's just keep the old WhatsApp open. It's a friendly bet, but I will be there. I will be there and willing. Hopefully my Ireland -6 will be already over the line, and I can say I don't mind if Tritonic wins because my bet's already in, and this is an absolute good thing.
Well, to be honest, we're not looking to lay certain horses, but anything that's under 3-1, I'll be delighted if he gets beat, Johnny. So anything under that type of price range,
3 IPAs to 1.
Yeah, any short one getting beat for us is good news, and he falls under that banner. Moving on to the County Hurdle, Third Time Lucky was supported after not being entered in the Supreme, and he's the biggest loser there at the minute in the county. The Albert Bartlett, it's all about Barbados Bucks here for Paul Nicholls. He was a general 10-1 chance leading up to the race, but now he is around the head of the market at around 6-1. I think Tory Graph will probably go well there. We have actually laid Tory Graph at around the 8-9-1 mark. He's now also shorter, about the 6-1, 13-2 mark. And I think one just to watch out for there would be Oscar Elite for Colin Tizard, a really big prize, but similar prep as Kilbrick and Storm. So
Kilbrick and Storm
at a big price. And then the last one to talk about, Johnny, would be the Gold Cup. We've actually started to see money for Album Photo. I didn't think I'd be saying it because he's such an
Album who? It's not like he's trying to win the race the third time runner.
I know it's absolutely mental, isn't it? He's not one that has really warmed many people, but even though he's won those 2 Gold Cups and he's still fired to do 9-4 shots, so he would be the main loser for us here. And it will be interesting to see where we're at with him when it gets to kind of Friday's time. So those would be a spin through of all the dates. I do just want to quickly touch on a couple of offers we've got going on. So we do have some good offers about. The first one would be if you bet every day with us at the Cheltenham Festival. If you place a bet every single day, you'll get a free bet at the end of the week to 50% of your average stake, up to 250 quid.
And just on that, we're all very much advocates here of gambling responsibly. But if you're going to space out your bets and have one bet every day, you will find a good bet every day. One bet for sure over the 7 races with all the various markets. So have a sensible bet and then be able to enjoy having a free bet at the end of the week.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different one as well. I mean, if you obviously, I don't want to teach people how to suck eggs, but if you're having 50 quid, 50 quid, and 50 quid, then you'll get a £25 free bet to use next week. I think it's just quite a good offer if you're having a bet every single day, and it's just something fun to have the next week or at the weekend. So that is one offer that we have. And then we also have the 2 meters offer, which is 1 length. So place a bet on any selection at Cheltenham Festival, and if you finish second, being a length or less, you will get your money back as a free bet. That's up to £25 on the win pie only. So we've got a couple of offers there. And we've also got a win of £500 free bet Cheltenham offer, where you just have to answer a series of questions, and there is lots of free bets on offer there. So lots of offers to get stuck into on the site in terms of Cheltenham. And we just can't wait to get going now, Johnny.
You've been utterly fantastic, professional, flawless, really, apart from some of the ridiculous opinions you've given over the last 10 or 15 minutes. Talk to me about the weekend, though, because we had an Imperial Cup winner who absolutely bolted up and is a potential runner at Cheltenham. We also had a little bit going on in the golf as well.
We did indeed. So there's probably just one race to talk about from the weekend, and that is obviously the Imperial Cup. Langadam was a good result for us in the Imperial Cup. The only horse that we could lay was Natural History, but Langadam was really, really impressive. Motionless Harry Scales. I think he's fantastic, Harry Scales, and he'd be my favourite jockey out there at the minute.
Natural History, I could not get over that. Granted, he's a good horse in the flat. The race he won, his prep run, we beat 4 runners. We sent off 8 to 13 or whatever. He beat absolutely nothing. Whereas Langardan was clearly being prepped for this race and had a load of experience. And if that isn't after time, I don't know what is.
Well, they obviously thought he was chucked in, and so did the punters. So Langardan is now 8-1 for the Martin Pipe, would go there under a penalty, but you think he'd be well in, given the performance at the weekend anyway. So that's just it in terms of Sandown. And then just want to quickly touch on the goal. We had the Players' Championship. It was an exhilarating weekend. Justin Thomas was striping it on Saturday and Sunday, and he managed to get the job done, overhauling Lee Westwood, who played pretty poorly yesterday. He was short enough kind of in running. JT was a decent result in the in-play book, but he was a poor result in the pre-event book, so it really evened itself out. Lee Westwood was a huge loser in the in-play book, so it wasn't terrible to get him beat, to be honest with you. Just looking forward to the Masters. JT is now 11-1 for the Masters. That's next month. And Lee Westwood is now 33-1 from 80. So a huge move for Lee Westwood. Obviously got good Masters form. Hasn't obviously gone on one there, but got really good Masters form back in the day. He was bet down from 80-1 into 33-1. So that's just the goal for the weekend, but it's all about tomorrow and getting started for Cheltenham now, isn't it? Give me a nap of the week, Johnny. That's what I want to hear. What horse is going to win this week?
I'm going to nap Tritonic, right? Is my nap of the week. Probably your Bismarck of the week. Granted, he's not the price he was. I was tipping this horse up a while back. Ended up through my own idiocy not actually backing him, and then kind of missed the price. So now I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll probably just be backing him with Flynn for a cheeky 3 IPAs to 1 come to try and Fertile. But if he were running against Dan here in the flat, he'd be giving him about £20. And I'm not saying that translates, but he actually hurdles very well and he finds loads for pressure. I love his stallion. I can't see why he shouldn't be improving again. He's only had 2 hurdle starts. At a big price on the Tuesday is Zafanian, who goes in there after a similar enough prep to Band of Outlaws. 2 forms at Nace were very encouraging. He jumps and travels exactly like you want a horse, basically, in the Fred Winter. And Richard Johnson is booked. He's a big price. I'm surprised at how big he is. And Great White Shark and the mares each way, despite the fact that obviously her statement is going to be very hard to beat. Flynn, can I ask you, first of all, for your nap of the week, and secondly, if you are new to Star Sports this week, Star Sports is a different bookmaker to your quintessential high street firms. What can he or she expect that's different if he or she joins Star Sports?
Well, you can bet in a multitude of ways with us. So you can call us up over the phone. So if you call through the phone, you might end up speaking to me. You might end up speaking to one of the other guys in the trading room. Normally, we would obviously be in the office, but as you can see, we're all working from home at the moment. So I'm sat here at a desk, and you can call through and speak to us if you've got any questions that you need to ask. If you've got just any kind of complicated bets that you want to play.
Is this a good or a bad thing? Someone can get through and basically end up talking to you on the phone. Are we trying to sell the company here or no?
I think it's a good thing, but each to their own. So you can come through trader chat as well, which we have on the website. When you do log in, and you'll come straight through to a customer service agent or a trader, and hopefully you won't be waiting too long to speak to one of us. It's normally very quick. They're just a real personal element to us here at Star Sports. If you want to speak to someone, you can. Hopefully you'll come through to someone who's quite knowledgeable about betting, etc. So you should get that spin as well. So do just call us up if you want to bet, if you want to open an account, or just do it through the app or the desktop site. So plenty of ways to get involved. In terms of my naps for the week, I'll just give you one for each day. The ultimate on the Tuesday, Happy Go Lucky. You can't see Happy Go Lucky, but Kim Bailey's in fantastic form. Looks to be completely laid out for the race. I would have feared Lieutenant Rocco, but he's obviously not going. And I just think that when you've got Right, who's second in, and you pretty much know how he is, that Happy Go Lucky is the real unexposed one. I think the 7-2 mark is very, very fair there. First Flow in the Champion Chase, I think, is hugely overpriced, especially with a little bit more juice in the ground. Done absolutely nothing wrong, and I think I can
no Altior now.
Yeah, and I can see David Bass taking on Chacun Pour Soi down the back straight, and just putting them all to the sword. So I think it's a fantastic price, about 12-14 to 1. Imperial Alcazar in the Potemps would be the next one for me. I think he's just a real graded performer, and obviously he's in a handicap there. And then Ganapathy, if he goes to the county. Obviously, we don't know where Willie is going to run these, but he's been taken out of the Supreme, so could go to the county. If he goes there, I think he's off 140 off the top of my head. I think if we get some better ground and a strongly run 2 miles will be absolutely perfect for him. So those would be my 4. And I just
First Flow is very interesting as well, because he basically, Politolog bolted up on this race last year, and First Flow took him on and basically destroyed him and ended up winning like a horse that's actually progressing. And he's a brilliant way of going. And if you're trying to get Chacun Pour Soi beaten, you want to maybe kind of burn the heart out of him, or certainly be upsides or thereabouts coming to the last, where you think there may still be a little bit of doubt about how much he finds. But I don't think there was any kind of flattering aspect to that performance the last day. I think he basically took him on and just show this relentless galloping and jumping style that would burn off a lot of rivals. And that for me is going to be fascinating, Altior or no Altior.
Yeah, and he ran through the line as well. I can't understand why Politolog is so much shorter than First Flow. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So I'd really like First Flow, and he would be one of my strongest fancies of the week anyway. I'm just going to get you to stall a bit, Johnny, while I go and get this picture of Thistlecrack. So I'll let you talk to the masses.
I will indeed. And I guess my advice just this week is, in terms of the fact that there are 28 races, you can feel after 2 or 3 races on the Tuesday that things are kind of going against you. But it's very, very important to gamble sensibly this week, because it is a week in which the hype and the hysteria, there's so much. If you're on Twitter, everyone's talking about Cheltenham. It can be so, it's like a hype machine or a hype train, and you're on the hype train and you don't want to get off, and you want to have winners. And if everyone else is winning and you're not, it can be difficult, and you kind of can become a bit grumpy. Just don't get upset about it. Don't get worked up. There are 4 days, and there will be other meetings throughout the year as well. And if you're having a good week, enjoy it. But if you lose a few quid, don't lose heart, because there's plenty more down the track, and enjoy the good racing. But certainly keep your head and do gamble responsibly throughout the week.
There you go. So thank you for that, Johnny. That's much appreciated. So just to finish up, we hope Colin Tizard has a winner this week, just to prove that I wasn't lying about Thistlecrack. That is the great Thistlecrack there, a lovely little canvas I've got of the lads. So hopefully Colin Tizard goes and has a winner this week. I'll be cheering on Colin here. Oscar Elite in the Albert Bartlett, and then he's got plenty of other chances as well. So Native River in the Gold Cup. He's got loads of chances. So hopefully he goes well. And just the last word for me about Cheltenham: do gamble responsibly. Come and speak to us at Star Sports. We'll be able to help you out the best we can. I'll be giving live updates on Twitter in terms of what we've laid about 10 o'clock each day. So do have a look out for that. But overall, just have a fantastic Cheltenham. Savour it, because it will be over so quickly.
Thanks a million, Flynn.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll be back next week. Obviously, keep an eye out for the website. This week we'll have loads going on, and those specials are particularly fascinating for me. But just to echo what Flynn said, enjoy the week. This week only comes around 4 days in the entire year. For me, it remains the greatest show on earth. And even though we're not there, we can be part of it. Talk to you next week.